Welcome back to the channel where I provide regular cricket content on interesting topics. In today's video I am going to be moving away from the skill and persistence of some of the greats I often feature on the channel. Today instead I am going to talk about luck, and specifically the unlucky cricketers over the years. I am going off my memory and cricketing knowledge here, so I am sure I will forget a few. As ever, please let me know of any unlucky players you can think of in the comments. On the subject of comments, thanks again for confirmation that you wouldn't mind some videos about one-day cricket. I have started brainstorming some one-day content and I am looking forward to showing it to you. But for now, back to the unlucky cricketers. I have broken the list into two parts. These are who I think are positioned from 10 to 6. Let's dive in. Number 10. Cameron Bancroft. Bancroft made his first-class debut for Western Australia in 2011-12, and after a string of solid performances the inevitable happened and he got his call up to the Test side. Although he had to wait for his debut following a cancelled Bangladesh tour, in November 2017, he was named in Australia's Test squad for the 2017-18 Ashes series. He replaced Matt Renshaw as an opening batsman and became the first Australian opener to make his debut in an Ashes Test since Michael Slater in 1993. Bancroft performed well on his debut, including a not-out 82, helping the Aussies to a comfortable victory. But all of that is not why he is here or why anyone really knows his name. Bancroft is of course known for his starring role in possibly the Australians' darkest hour in cricket, the sandpaper ball tampering. Why has that earned him a place on this list, you may be asking? Put frankly, he was still finding his way in the side, in fact under pressure following a string of low scores. Then he was approached by the record-breaking captain and the talisman-like vice-captain, who asked him to do something clearly against the rules of the game. What would you have done? If you were trying to fit in, your place was on the line and the two most senior players were putting you on the spot. So that is why he is on this list. Wrong place, wrong time and bad luck in my books. I know he is a grown man, but he was clearly pressured into it, so he has my sympathy. Number 9. James Taylor. When some people hear the name James Taylor, they may be transported into a world of soothing melodies and heartbreak anthems. But I am not talking about the musician here. Instead, I am talking about someone who was at one point one of the most promising batsmen in England. A prodigy who appeared to have finally broken through at international level. James Taylor found his career cruelly cut short at the age of 26 when he was diagnosed with an incurable heart condition. After working his way into the England team both in the one-day and Test format, he impressed many. Good going considering he was just 5 foot 6 inches tall. His Test start was decent if not out of this world, but in one-day cricket he was scoring hundreds and averaging over 40. But then came the diagnosis, and a rare one at that, arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy. I will save you the Wikipedia definition, but suffice to say it is a serious heart condition, and one that meant he would never play cricket again. Unlucky for anyone, let alone an international sportsman in his prime. Number 8. Sarfaraz Khan. Can anyone watching this video tell me anything about Mr. Khan? I bet there may be a few Indians who might be able to, but outside of this it is unlikely anyone knows who he is. I went down a research rabbit hole for this video, and when I came across Sarfaraz I thought, he is 100% making my list. Sarfaraz Khan rose to prominence when, aged 12, he broke the record for the highest score in the Harris Shield Inter-School Tournament, making 439 for Rizvi Springfield in an innings that featured 56 fours and 12 sixes. His schoolboy career was staggering and it led to his inclusion in representative teams. After an exceptional season for the Mumbai Under-19 team, Sarfaraz earned a call-up for the India Under-19 Quadrangular Series in 2013. He responded with a match-winning 66-ball 101 while chasing against South Africa. He progressed into first-class cricket as was a natural progression. How did he get on there, you may be asking? Well, in 38 games he has a first-class average of 74. I can't think of a player in history outside of Bradman who has an average that high in first-class games. So why is he on this list then? How many chances has he been given for India, might you ask? 5, 10 maybe? No, not one. I won't claim to know the internal politics, or know what he is like to manage, but for someone to have that much of an amazing first-class record and never made the national team, that to me sounds extremely unlucky and earns him a spot here. Number 7. Stuart McGill. I have a hunch that a few people would have considered the Aussie when they saw the title of this video. McGill was probably my easiest pick. The Aussie spinner was probably in my top 5 bowlers to watch when I was younger. It was just TV that you couldn't take your eyes off. He gave the ball such a tremendous rip which made it fizz, turn and bounce prestigiously. But at the same time he also usually bowled one bad ball and over, meaning that the batsmen were always interested too. But of course if he was in my top 5 bowlers to watch, there was a certain Victorian who was in there as well. Stuart McGill is not on this list due to an injury or being struck by lightning. He is of course here due to having the extremely unfortunate bad luck to happen to be playing in a time where Shane Warne was dominating the world. If you really think about it, it is incredibly unlucky. There has never in the history of the game been another leg spinner anywhere near as good as Shane. For their careers to overlap as closely as they did is such bad luck. They were in fact born only 2 years apart. How many tests would he have played? How many wickets would he have added to his 208? Who knows? But one thing I do know is that his bad fortune has earned him a place on this list. Number 6, Mike Proctor, Graham Pollock, Barry Richards. I know that I am cheating here by using 3 players at once, but you will understand my logic if you haven't already worked out why they are in my list. These 3 players all had what looked like being Hall of Fame Test careers cut short from absolutely no fault of their own. They only played a total of 34 Test matches between them. Even totting that up in my head, it really is amazing. At the point of the ban, Pollock was averaging 61 with the bat, Richards 73 and Proctor 15 with the ball. If they weren't bright starts to a Test career, then I don't know what is. Even I am guilty of shunning Proctor and Richards from my all-time South African 11, something which I justified due to their small number of Tests played. I will never try to argue against the ban which impacted South Africa during apartheid, but what I will do is stick up for some of the players who had nothing to do with the political decisions. For Proctor, Richards and Pollock, we are all left wondering what could have been. I am of the opinion that the all-time Test record books would look a lot different to how they do now had they played full careers. If that isn't a case for them being included in the list of unluckiest cricketers of all time, then I am doing things wrong. That wraps up the first half of this video, and I will confess to it being one of the hardest to come up with. I usually throw things over to you guys at this stage to see if you could guess my top 5, but as it is so subjective I doubt you would be able to. But please hit up the comments with who you consider to be some unlucky players in Test cricket history. I would love to have a read through. Who knows, you may be able to get me to change my top 5 if you have a compelling argument. As ever, thank you all so much for your comments and for watching the videos. See you next time.